Podcast 172, Completed Works of William Anderson Gittens' Compilation of 172 podcasts is a cultural compendium. ISBN 978-976-971-4601. After much cogitation, I've coined and posited the theoretical expression, completed works of William Anderson Gittens' compilation of 172 podcasts is a cultural compendium. ISBN 978-976-971-4601. This intellectual cultural conversation utilizes the abstract compendium as a tool to publish, although according to the thesaurus, plus compendium is a synonym for an abstract in the summary topic. As an author, licensed cultural practitioner, cultural theoretician, and doctoral student, in this context, I have employed this technique as a tool in the collection process of literary works chosen without assistance, collection of excerpts which I have written and produced. It should be noted that although there is a difference between compilation and compendium, yet I am cognizant of the fact that according to wikidiff.com, I quote, as nouns, the difference between compilation and compendium is that compilation is the act or process of compiling or gathering together from various sources research, while compendium is a short, complete summary or an abstract. End quote. Lim Samantha of the New York Times argues that in genre fiction, the term anthology typically characterizes collections of shorter works, such as short stories and short novels by different authors, each featuring unrelated casts of characters and settings, and usually collected into a single volume for publication. End quote. Alternatively, it can also be a collection of selected writings, short stories, poems, etc. by one author. Complete collections of works are often called complete works or opera omnia. Etymologically speaking, according to wikipedia.org, I quote, the origin of this word helps to solidify purpose since the word entered the English language in the 17th century. This dialogue comprises a compendium and compilation theories. All things being considered, there is a difference between contemporary ethnology. All things being considered, there is a difference between contemporary ethnography and ethnography. Britannica asserts, I quote, ethnography is a descriptive study of a particular human society or the process of making such a study. Contemporary ethnography is based upon almost entirely on fieldwork and requires a complete immersion of the anthropologist in the culture and everyday life of the people who are the subject of his study. End quote. On reflection, I acknowledge the fact that although I am not a trained anthropologist, but I am an author, media arts specialist, licensed cultural practitioner, and cultural theoretician who have studied media arts and cultural studies and who's presently pursuing doctoral studies in divinity. On the other hand, while studying cultural studies throughout my academic tenure, I have examined procedures and methods for examining broad and complex anthropological issues, although I am not a trained anthropologist. This lived experience has not only sharpened my analytical skills to solve complex issues, but I became proficient in reading and writing about academic subjects and a platform to expand my knowledge base to defend. Wikipedia advocates, I quote, the principle of academic spontaneity, which is deemed beneficial for culture and eventually should intellectuals become unoccupied to hold and examine a variety of views. It is because of the aforesaid academic background. Wikipedia advocates, I quote, the principle of academic spontaneity, which is deemed beneficial for culture and eventually should intellectuals become unoccupied to hold and examine a variety of views, end quote. It is because of the aforesaid academic background that my intellectual passion, enthusiasm, theoretical, practical understanding, and appreciation for anthology has flourished exponentially over the years because of researching various subject matter and occupying the precincts of podcasts and digital libraries. For example, Nicole Hennin asserts that, I quote, podcasts are experiencing a renaissance today. More highly quality programming is available for more diverse audiences than ever before, end quote. What Hennin seems to be implying that it is very plausible that in order to reach these diverse audiences with digital audio content, that the same should be distributed over the internet using a podcast hosting service. For example, digital libraries. This thinking is also corroborated by techtarget.com. Podcasts and digital libraries need each other because a digital library is also called an online library, an internet library, a digital repository. A library without walls or a digital collection is an online database of digital objects that can include text, still images, audio, video, digital documents, or other digital media formats, or a library accessible through the internet, according to Wikipedia. DevGrow Media Arts Services publishing podcasts facilitate global citizens, according to MailChimp.com, I quote, by listening and learning more about a topic, keep up with current events, or even laugh, end quote. These podcasts can be characterized as an electronic book of collections stored in digital libraries, which are internet sites, according to ScienceDirect.com, I quote, concentrated to the creation and preservation of electronic book collections and holdings of other kinds of materials, which comprise where, why, and how certain attitudes and beliefs about global citizens and other groups have been constructed, covering topics in the natural science, that is, physics, chemistry, bioscience, geology, oceanography, and climate change, end quote. In the scheme of things, while navigating this environment with my various research lenses, I was enlightened at the fact that there are an institutional repository, which is an archive for collecting, preserving, and disseminating digital copies of the intellectual output of an institution, particularly a research institution, according to wikipedia.org. PVAMU.libguides.com asserts that an institutional repository is an archive for collecting, preserving, and disseminating digital copies of the intellectual output of an institution, particularly a research institution, end quote. The National Library collects all the books published in the nation. It also acts as a collection library at the national level for the books received under the Copyright Act for the nation. It also stores a copy of rare books available in other libraries located in the country, and a digital archives is a place of storage for the safekeeping of digital information such as files, invoices, deeds, or other documents. In contrast to an analog archive, both the archive data and the storage location are electronic by nature. Completed works of William Anderson Gittens' compilation of 171 podcasts is a cultural compendium. Behaves somewhat like ebooks since it offers numerous advantages over printed books. It is cost-effective, convenient, portable, and environmentally friendly. It also offers several customization options, accessibility features, and multimedia elements that are not available with printed books. On the other hand, some of my podcasts are characterized as cultural works, lasts between 10 minutes and an hour, unlike many books that can take you more than 20 hours to read or more conversational. That said, podcasts have a casual and conversational style that makes them a pleasurable listening experience. They are everywhere. A case in point, between the period 2019 to 2023, the first episode of my podcast was published July 4th, 2019, and there were 6,144 podcast downloads since published. There are now 172 episodes podcasts which are aired on 24 podcast platforms in Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, and Oceania, and are translated in Finn, Spanish, and Ukraine language. Therefore, accessing easily and rapidly these podcasts, as well as e-publications, archives, and images of various types, and are widely recognized by commercial interests and the public bodies interchangeably. The digital content of completed works of William Anderson Gittens' compilation of 171 podcasts is a cultural compendium. May be stored locally or accessed remotely via computer networks. These information retrieval systems are able to exchange information with each other through interoperability and sustainability, a view espoused by Lanagan, James, Simeton, and Alan F. The above mentioned points solidify my rationale and give me license to establish the decision why I have embraced digital preservation, since its aims is to ensure that digital media and information systems are still interpretable into the indefinite future. Each necessary component of this must be migrated, preserved, or emulated. Legal deposits is often covered by copyright legislation and sometimes by laws specific to legal deposit, and requires that one or more copies of all material published in a country should be submitted for preservation in an institution, typically the National Library. Since the advent of electronic documents, legislation has had to be amended to cover the new formats, such as the 2016 Amendment to the Copyright Act 1968 in Australia. Completed works of William Anderson Gittens' compilation of 172 podcasts is a cultural compendium and is distinguished from other digital audio formats by its ability to be downloaded automatically on other platforms, including audible.com, podcasts, B08K554538, audible.com, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, Castbox, Castro, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Listen Notes, Podcast Addict, Pocket Casts, Podchaser, Player FM, Podcast Index, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iVoox, Ivy.fm, TuneIn and Alexa, Verbal.com and UK.PlayerFM now occupy the precincts of digital libraries, using software capable of reading feed formats such as RSS or Atom, according to csmcgill.ca, and can be a direct download and or streaming of content. In summary, completed works of William Anderson Gittens' compilation of 172 podcasts is a cultural compendium captured and framed in 7 chapters in publication 304 and verbalized in podcast 172 in ISBN 978-976-971-4601.